Well, a very warm welcome again to all of you who have gathered for this, the second annual conference of the Andrew Fuller Center for Baptist Studies. The center exists for a number of reasons, in particular to be a vehicle for remembering the history and heritage of the people called Baptists, among which probably most of us, if not all of us, find ourselves. The name Andrew Fuller affixed to the center is a very appropriate one in many ways. If you know anything about Fuller's life, he was a man who sought to be rigorously biblical, passionately devoted to Christ and to the extension of his kingdom. He stood at the forefront among the pioneers of the modern missionary movement. And in all those three areas, a commitment to Christ, his kingdom, to Scripture, and to mission, we hope to cultivate that at the center in terms of what we reflect on and think about. The center, in addition to this conference, also publishes a journal, Eusebia, which comes out twice a year. The current issue, which I believe will be issue number 9, should be available tomorrow and will be available for sale. We had hoped it would be here this morning, but it should be here tomorrow afternoon. And in addition to that, we also have occasional lectures. We have a lecture this fall on John Milton and something of his theological framework and background. That'll be on November the 13th. That's free of charge, and in the afternoon from 12:30 to 2 o'clock. A little later in the morning, we'll have a formal welcome from the seminary itself. Dr. Russell Moore, who serves as the Senior Vice President for Academic Administration, will be here to give a formal welcome to those at the conference. Just a few details before we move into our first plenary session. The schedule for the conference is found on the second page of the conference brochure. We will endeavor to be fairly rigorous in terms of the time there. We have some leeway at the end of various sessions, for instance, the end of the parallel sessions in the afternoon, but the times for starting we hope to adhere to. All of the plenary sessions will be here in this room, and all of the meals will be next door, so that's easy in terms of getting around the campus for those sessions. The one plenary session that will not be here is this evening after the banquet. It'll be over in Broadus Chapel, which is a reproduction of a 17th century New England chapel, and that is at the end of Norton Hall. And there is a way of getting there from this locale without going outside. You go straight down the Honeycutt Center, and you come to a T-junction. This long hall here that this room is at the end of is the Honeycutt Center, and you go down that long hall. You hit a T, and you'll make a right-hand turn. Again, you go to the end of that, and you have to make a left-hand turn. You go straight through the Norton where all the classrooms are, and that again will bring you to a T. You go right to the end of that, which is Norton, and then you make a right, and you are there at the chapel. But if any of you do not know how to get there, please ask, and instruction more help will be given to get you there. So that's at 8:30 after the banquet. I'm sure most of you will be heading over after the banquet, so you simply follow those who know where they're going, and you'll make it okay. The parallel sessions in the afternoon will be over in the Legacy Center. Some of you are staying there, so you know where that is. Some of you already know because you've been on campus and are involved in the life of the seminary or have been. It's on the third floor. There is a block of rooms, and the various individuals for the parallel sessions, rooms will be labeled A, B, and C. And again, hopefully you'll be able to find that easily. Another item to note is that after the parallel sessions, there is an optional tour of the archives. There'll be various items that the archives holds that'll be made available for viewing. And if you're interested in doing that, Mr. Steve Weaver, who serves as the assistant to the center, administrative and research assistant, will be able to take you over. So my suggestion is you gather here where you registered, and then he'll take you over to the library and we thank the archivist or the director of the archives there, Mr. Jason Fowler, who will be setting that up along with his staff. Two other things before we actually turn to the first plenary session. We hope to publish the conference proceedings, the papers of the conference. And so to that end, I'm asking that if you do present a paper today or tomorrow, that you make available to me within a month or so a copy of that in a digital form. I don't need a hard copy, but in a digital form, a final form that would be sufficient for publication. I'm hoping that initial interest might be shown by Paternoster Press. Paternoster Press published a conference proceedings of the International Conference on Baptist Studies, and they might be persuaded to take up this conference's proceedings on a regular basis. But at this point, I do not have a publisher, is what I'm intending to say there, but I do hope to publish the papers. Last year's papers are actually part of the Eusebia volume that will be available tomorrow. And then finally, I want to thank the various publishers publicly who've made available copies of books that are being given to you as part of the conference registration. Audubon Press, the head of that, Pastor Jerry Marcelino, is here, and we want to thank Audubon Press for making available Adoniram Judson's work on Christian baptism. Broadman and Holman, I believe, should be bringing something. There should be available something from them. Crossway, the very fine volume of the life of John Newton by Jonathan Haykin. Craigle gave 2 volumes there that also are part of that package. And then Wakeman Press for making available the distinctive edition of the 1689 Confession by Peter Masters. The conference this year is focused on the 17th century, and that's obvious, obviously, by the title. By the way, please forgive the little glitch on the front. If you looked closely at the dates, where actually the conference took place a year ago. So please forgive that. It is 2008. I did toy with the idea of trying to cover that up, but then eventually thought, well, might disfigure the front more than help, and so thought I would simply indicate the glitch there. This is 2008, August the 25th, and the conference is on the 17th century Baptists. And Lord willing, I'd like to, over the next number of years, explore a number of the centuries, both on that side of the Atlantic and this side of the Atlantic. And this year we want to look at what is really the very formative period of Baptist life as it comes out of the matrix of Puritanism in terms of those early Baptists as they thought through their position on the basis of Scripture in the context, very tumultuous context. In fact, in many respects, the 17th century, probably the most tumultuous century in British history since the Reformation, because right in the middle of it you have the English Civil Wars. But it was a time in which God blessed remarkably, and it's in that context of the world being turned upside down, as Christopher Hill once wrote a book on, that period, that the Baptists flourished. And it's in that area then that we want to think together about some of the early Baptist pioneers, some of their thought, and some of the sessions are devoted to looking at individuals, specific areas of thought of the individuals. More of them, others of them are more general. And the first plenary session is a general overview and a survey of the English Calvinistic Baptists. You might think, well, there were other Baptist groups in that period. That's true. The English General Baptists and the Seventh-day Baptists, who in some respects are a distinct group. Hopefully next year we want to do something on the English General Baptists. The next year is the 400th anniversary of John Smith becoming a Baptist. And we hope to have a couple of special lectures as part of the conference next year that deal with that. Our first plenary session then deals with the English Calvinistic Baptists of the 17th century, a survey. And coming to address us on that topic is Dr. Malcolm Yarnell. It's a privilege to have Dr. Yarnell with us to speak in this area. Dr. Yarnell did his DPhil at Oxford in the area of the Reformation. The title of that, The Royal Priesthood in the English Reformation. It's due to be published soon. He serves as the Associate Professor of Systematic Theology at Sister Seminary, Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Texas, where he also serves as the director of the Oxford Study Program, which is a 3-week trip, I believe, that has been going on for many years, where students from Southwestern, but other interested students go over to England, are based at Regent's Park College, which is a treasure trove in so many ways, and do various exploratory day trips, etc. He serves also as the director for the Center for Theological Research, which is a online, I think all of it is online in terms of the publications, and making available some very, very fine material in terms of Baptist resources, and has been newly appointed the editor of the Southwestern Journal of Theology. Dr. Yarnell is the author of quite a number of articles and a number of books, the most recent which is The Formation of Christian Doctrine, published by Broadman and Holman. And so it is a privilege to welcome Dr. Yarnell to come and speak to us on the English Calvinistic Baptist of the 17th century, an overview.